Deadman was an entry in RPGmaker.net's 5th anniversary contest, whose theme was bad adaptations of books, movies, TV shows, and etc. The only caveat was the game couldn't be a bad adaptation of a video game, and that the developers only had 5 hours to complete their projects. And as you can imagine, that time limit seriously hampered anyone's ability to make a quality title. As such, you can expect Deadman to be a mess. Deadman is meant to be an adaptation of the 1995 movie by the same name. Of course, like many of the entries that were submitted to the contest, I'm not familiar with the source material. As such, I can't judge just how bad an adaptation of the original work this game is, but considering it turns a 2-hour movie into a 2-minute game, I'm going to assume that it definitely qualifies as a bad adaptation. It also doesn't help that I can't really read any of the dialogue in this game, which is presented in the form of poetry. Deadman has very little going for it in terms of gameplay. All you can do is interact with a few objects and people, and the amount of options you have for meaningful interaction is 2. You can either shoot the object or person you are interacting with, or you can recite poetry to said person or object. Of course, the shoot option is a bit bugged when you shoot story-relevant characters. Instead of giving you a game over, the game allows you to continue to wander around, but since you killed a story-significant character, you'll be unable to advance through the game, and thus finish it. So if you kill a story-relevant character, you'll basically be trapped in whatever area you are in, and will need to manually return to the title screen or get yourself killed, as the case may be. On the graphical side of things, the game is rather weak in my opinion. To start with, I'm of two minds about the game being in black and white. On one hand, this design aesthetic gives the game a unique feel and helps to differentiate this title from other games that utilize your standard color palette. On the other hand, this look also makes the game feel highly antiquated. Moving on though, I'm not of two minds about the character models in this game. While I find the simplistic design of the main character to be sort of cute in an odd sort of way, I find that the game hurts itself by not being consistent when it comes to the design of its human characters. While the bulk of the human characters are represented by the sprites and monsters, a few of the human characters still clearly have human sprites. I guess one could argue that this decision was motivated by the theme of the contest, since this inconsistency definitely adds to the bad part of the bad adaptation. But I'd argue that changing all the human characters into dinosaurs would have still been just as effective in this regard, and would have made the game feel less sloppy in its approach. And on a final note, this game contains a noticeable graphical glitch. This glitch is activated by telling your compatriot near the end of the game that you didn't kill the man who shot you. On the sound side of things, the game only contains 2 soundtracks that play in the background, and a loud sound effect that plays whenever you or someone else discharges a round from their firearm. Oddly enough, the sound of a bullet being forcibly discharged from the chamber of a deadly weapon is probably the most memorable aspect of this game. The soundtrack, on the other hand, is split between a rather generic song that attempts to give this short title the feel of a proper western, and a song that tries to invoke a sad mood at the fact that the main character is dying. The sad song, in my opinion, doesn't really work, though. The game is just way too short for me to get attached to the main character, so his death doesn't mean anything to me. Deadman is a difficult game to judge in my opinion. The lack of time the developer had to work on this project practically guaranteed that this game would suck. But things are only compounded by the fact that this game is so short that it's near impossible to get a feel for it. As such, I don't recommend this game to those looking for a rather short experience that doesn't leave a lasting impression.